You're in a medically induced coma on life support. It's a three-sided coin. The family, the patient, and the medical staff. You would think that the patient and the medical staff would be in simpatico, but you'd be wrong.
This is United A-Holes, a video cast discussing cultural topics with no filter.
Welcome back to Area 41. Jack Kevorkian. Oh, sorry. Dr. Thank You's favorite spot on the internet.
You're an asshole. Oh no.
I'm good.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
So yeah, we're gonna hit probably a little heavier of a subject here. Hopefully we don't fall apart. But what do you want to talk about?
Life support, I guess.
So
I'm pro life support.
Yeah, I like life
I
support.
think we should keep it.
I do too. Actually, episode over. Actually, what got me on this subject was you see it in a movie, you see it in every television show. There's that dramatic moment where a character is put in a coma, or I just recently watched a Netflix episode where there was a character that was put on life support, and it was that ultimate decision of, okay, this is the medical condition of the person.
Do we unplug?
Do you want them unplugged? Do you want them to live? And the character was like, I don't want to make that decision. Get somebody else to make it. And it just got me thinking there a few weeks ago, like, I wonder what actually the laws are, really, like what comes into play and stuff like that, because it surely can't be just like, you know, the movies or whatever, or a TV show. What are the actual ins and outs? And I was actually surprised that if you're on life support and the family wants you to basically stay on life support, there is a process that doesn't necessarily happen. Case in point, recently in I think it was 2014, there was a gentleman on life support. He had been on life support for 3 years at that point in time. It was his wishes to stay on life support. He made it known that everything, happened to me, and his family respected that. And the actual doctors actually sued, went all the way to Supreme Court to have him taken off life support.
Because his wishes and
against his wishes and the family. They
was their
actually
reasoning?
took it. Just
cost, probably. I guess.
Basically
Zero
quality of life.
Okay, so it wasn't like they were doing it because they felt it was better for him.
Yeah, there was no
no chance for recovery.
No chance for recovery, and the family was saying that, the little spasms that he would have every once in a while that the doctors would attribute to this or that was sign that there was some, even though it was minimal, there was some brain activity there. And they actually took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled 5-2. The Canadian, this is in Canada, ruled that the doctors could not do that. But because it was in Ontario, and this is the only province that has it, they have the Consent and Capacity Board or council.
Okay.
And the doctors could actually go to that, and their decision is final in cases of where the sides cannot agree.
Gotcha.
It goes to a panel, and they make the decision on whether or not the person comes off life support.
So what happened?
Or stays on.
Did he stay on? Is he still on?
It is still being, because of the litigation, the last thing was they were in the process of maybe going to the board, but they have not yet.
So the best thing for you, if you want to stay on life support, is for there to be litigation, because that stuff takes years to make its way through the court. So if your wish, even if you're wrong, is like, leave me on as long as you possibly can, because maybe I'll come back. You want people to be going through the courts because it drags it out, which is what you want. Because they can't do anything to you until they make a decision. So in a sick, twisted sort of way, that actually works in your favor,
in the patient's favor.
If it goes, for the person that wants to stay on life support. But it works against if you're the guy that wants to be taken off and your family's arguing to leave you on. Exactly. So
I don't think the family has the right to do that if your opinion's already known.
Yeah,
if it's in your will,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I bet you it happens though.
So what are the laws in Canada for, if you're in a position?
I know you
it's
can.
A choice.
I know you can go on paper as being, do not resuscitate. Yeah. I don't know. Like,
I thought that it would be hard and fast that the medical community could not, aid or assist in
do no harm.
Death, period. And I was wrong. In July of 2017, this year, Bill C.
Not this year. This is 2019.
July of 2017, a couple of years ago, Bill C-14.
Bill C-14.
Bill C-14, otherwise known as the M.A.I.D law, which stands for medically assisted in death.
Yeah.
Medically assisted in death is legal in Canada.
Yeah. So,
and there's some criteria, obviously.
So what is that?
But it's
what does that say?
Basically, Jack Kevorkian could come up here and practice.
And you're against it?
At will. Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Well, there was a lady in BC, I believe, it wasn't that long ago, that made the decision. And she was aided by her doctors because I believe it was cancer, if I'm not mistaken. And she said she didn't want to just lay there and die to cancer, knowing that was going to be the end. She was going to choose the date and the time and do it herself, and it was all completely legal. And the great thing about that, if there is a great thing, she got to say goodbye to her family. There was no waiting for that phone call. Waiting for the phone call. Oh, the phone rang. Oh, what's going on? Oh, okay. No, it's somebody else.
That Thursday
will
be the last day.
And it's not going to make it any easier. When you lose somebody, it's tough, period. But for the person that's doing the dying, to be able to say, I want to see this person, I want to see that person, here's what I want done with these belongings, to be able to tell that to somebody.
Yeah.
At least to get that. You've got cancer, it sucks, and you're going to die. But you get to go out, so to speak, on your own terms and be able to see everybody and do it the way that you want to. If there's any sort of satisfaction, that has got to be it.
Totally. Yeah.
As opposed to sitting and waiting.
Well, we've discussed it on a prior episode. Quantity versus quality.
More time or better time.
Right. And there you go. Yeah.
I think it's
that. Well, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, I think that should be up to each individual person. Obviously, I don't think
you think you hear of situations and you think, okay, they're on life support and they need the machine in order to live and everything, and then I didn't really go down the rabbit hole, but there are actually documented cases where 12 years later, boom, I'm out of my and I'm fine, or that's not the record either. I think the record is actually 22 years, I believe.
Wow.
Is that in a coma or life support? So I could see it more out of a coma.
Coma, but at that point in time, if you're in a coma, aren't you using the machines to?
I think there is a type of coma though, where
and you're talking about you're talking about 22 years and came out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
That'd be a surreal experience with it.
Yeah.
Would it not? Because I've always wondered. Like, I know what it's like.
What would it be like to time travel?
Basically.
How do you perceive that passage of time? Is the question. Do you wake up and go, oh man, I hit my head. That really hurt.
I think that honestly
And
is
you
what
go-
happens.
You go under as an 8-year-old boy and come out a 30-year-old man.
Yeah,
your
you know what I
brain would
mean?
be able to handle that.
And and you're like, as you start coming to, you're like, what?
But aren't there
am I,
some
you know?
like people that recover from comas that said they were acutely aware of environmental variables?
Yeah,
while they were
that's
in?
the other thing. So they did.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
that
that's
passage
the
of time
whole
happened,
thing.
and they just couldn't respond.
I think obviously, I think every case is different.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think-
Nobody actually knows for sure how fully aware the person is actually.
So how terrifying is that? You're laying there hearing people make the decisions as to
Absolutely
whether to
terrifying.
leave you, and you're like,
Nope. That wouldn't be fun.
Well, yeah, we've all seen Metallica's video for one.
I was just thinking about
I was thinking the
that.
same thing, but I read the book. I read that Johnny got his gun.
Yeah.
Terrifying. It is the scariest book I've ever read.
That's awful.
Yeah.
So, assisted death thoughts?
Yeah, if you had to be put on life support, what are your thoughts?
Let's
What-
roundtable it that way.
Okay, my criteria is this. My wife and I have talked about this. If they're saying, yes, there is a chance that we can pull him out of this, whatever it is, then by all means, make the attempt. But when they come to you and say, other than the machines, he's gone, the brain activity is done. We're making him breathe and do everything else. But there is zero chance of bringing him back. It's not
No
going to
brainstem
happen.
activity.
No
Right.
brainstem activity, and there's nothing we can do. Do not leave me in that bed. But I realize that I'm passing along a decision to somebody who does not want
Well,
to make
you're
it.
not though if you put
But-
it as a do not resuscitate.
Yeah,
You
true.
can put it in your, you can have that in writing so someone else doesn't have to make that decision. I've been in
True.
circumstances
She doesn't have
where
to make the decision, but she's going to have that uncomfortable conversation where the doctor comes to her and says, we're at the stage where Brent said he didn't want to be
Right.
here anymore. And she's thinking, are they right? Are they wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would question that as a spouse, especially.
absolutely, yeah.
And that's what I just hope that she never has to be in that situation. So
Love is watching something.
hopefully I'm just, I cross the road where there's no crosswalk and get hit.
Josh.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Just take me off life support now.
So you're for the assisted, I take it, Josh, from your comments?
Yeah, I'm definitely for assisted.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
There should be a choice, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Provided-
Everyone has the right to die.
Provided it's for legit causes would be my take on it. Like you can't just go, well, I'm done.
Yeah.
Why though?
Yeah, I was gonna say why.
Because in that situation, there's probably some help that can bring you out of the reason.
Right.
why-
But it's still
if
your
you're a
decision.
sound mind and body,
yes.
you are not allowed to make that decision because they think if you make that decision, you're not a sound mind.
You're probably not in most cases.
Probably not. But what
Yeah.
if you were?
If you're of sound mind and body and you don't want to be here anymore, you won't be here anymore. You don't need to have the doctor assist you with.
Right, but that's
But it
still
would
illegal.
be yeah.
What's that?
So I
It's
did,
still illegal.
I did
What we're
cheat
saying
a
is
little
making
bit.
it legal.
yeah, but you're
I'll
not
back-
going to get charged with anything. You're going to be dead.
Hold on. Okay.
I did cheat a little bit before this episode when Ken mentioned the M.A.I.D's law that come in October 2017 or whenever it was voted in, C14.
Teacher's pet over here doing homework.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to read about
That's
it.
the reason why we sit together.
The criteria, you have to be 18 or older. And there were four stages of criteria. It's a irreparable disease of some type, so like a cancer or
Sure.
heart condition or whatever, that can't be treated and put into remission or a transplant or anything else. But there was, I think it was the fourth criteria out of the four, was that you suffered some kind of traumatic experience. And I found that very interesting. They wrote that in. That was kind of like,
That is
Because of the
interesting.
condition?
so no,
No,
it
just-
could be like,
just
the
anything.
way I read it, now maybe I'm misinterpreting the law, but the way I read it was like, say you were, in a car accident with your entire family and they were gone and you were the only one left and that was all the family you had.
Yeah.
And you're like, you were the driver or whatever, some traumatic
That's
experience.
survivor's guilt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you were just at the point where you just didn't want to continue. It sounds like reading that law, and we should read it, after the episode so you can see what I'm talking about, to see if you interpret it the same way. I'd be interested to know. But it sounded like that would be right on the edge of like a just reason.
Yeah.
So what does that make you feel? Do you think that's okay? Do you think that?
I'm sure there's people that it felt like. I know a couple of people that
Is that suicide at that point, though, if you're well enough that you probably are going to recover and leave the hospital? Or are we talking about somebody?
We're talking someone
Injured-
15 years from now. even,
Injured
from
to-
the 15 years from the accident, they could still be affected.
Oh,
That-
okay. We're
that's what
talking
we're
the
talking
PTSD type
Yeah.
thing that's not treatable.
Okay. I can't handle this nightmare anymore. I
Yeah,
don't want to be
sure.
here. I don't know. I'd have to argue for that. That's
about. I would too,
because
honestly.
if you're having nightmares, if you simply can't function and you feel that is your end, like that's it. I've done
Well,
everything I've
and my
taught
statement
you,
there
you
would be
know.
is if the government doesn't allow you to do it, they're going to find a way anyway. Most of those people will.
I would
Well, that's what I was saying. You're going to do it anyway, so
I would wonder about introducing some kind of witness system where you have to have witnesses sign before you can proceed with that.
I think the M.A.I.D bill was basically they followed the Netherlands
Okay.
because their bill is a little bit more broad stroke and has been in existence for a few more years. But in the Netherlands, a child can actually opt out, for lack of a better word. However, having said that, to this point, no child has ever, has ever done that. They've all been adults, really. As far as myself being on life support, keep me on life support.
okay.
Do
You
not
heard
pull
it
the
here.
plug. Do not pull the plug. It's interesting. There was just actually a movie that was based on a real life story about the kid, the 14-year-old that drowned. I went and saw. I forget what the movie's called.
Oh yeah.
He drowned. He was actually brain dead for. He was in the water for 22 minutes. When they got
the sister from This Is Us, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
she is.
Oh, okay.
And then they got him to the hospital and he was flatlined for I think another 8 minutes and then boom, and then he was under the care of the best doctor in the U.S. who was the specialist for that type of, and he didn't have a hope in hell and everything. And it's actually funny. It's a spiritual story, but the doctor's quote was, "Child died, mother prayed, child lived." That was his medical analysis of the whole thing.
I think that's my car.
I thought somebody was flatlining.